Nerd Lag Game Club.
Welcome to the Nerd Lag Game Club podcast, the podcast that gives us a chance to step back and play a game with friends. I'm Corey, and I'm joined with four party members today: Lauren,
Hi.
Tonsa,
What's up?
Tony,
Hello.
and Dan.
Hello.
In this episode of the Game Club, we're putting on our superhero clothes and playing 2009's Batman Arkham Asylum. Batman Arkham Asylum was developed by Rocksteady Studios and published by Warner Bros. Rocksteady Studios developed this game's two sequels, Arkham City and Arkham Knight, and is currently working on Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League. This was our game pick for the month of February and was Tony's pick, so why don't you give us a brief summary of the story?
So the game starts out with Batman catching the Joker, taking him back to Arkham Asylum because he escaped. Then, what do you know? The Joker escapes again within the first 30 seconds of the game. And you pretty much are tracking him down and fighting other villains like Poison Ivy and Scarecrow and other villains throughout the rest of the game to find Joker and what his master plan is on why he wanted to be back in Arkham. And that's pretty much a good. I'd say that's pretty much a good summary of the game.
That's a little brief summary.
Without spoiling it, you know.
Yeah. Before we get into the game, I want to give the spoiler warning. So if you want to play this game, then I recommend playing it before listening. With that being said, who wants to talk about the gameplay and mechanics for Batman Arkham Asylum?
All right, so mechanics and gameplay, a little bit clunkier than what I remember playing it, like camera angles and stuff like that. It's pretty much a button smasher. A lot of combos and counters, and you, of course, you're Batman, so you get all of his sweet tech, but you have to unlock it first. There's a lot of puzzles through the game. You know, the Riddler leaves out all these puzzles for you to find in every area and stuff like that, different trivial stuff. Some of the game is, I don't want to say it's repetitive, but it's like you're doing the same things in different areas, like how to take out enemies. Like, I always just use the gargoyles. Like, I just string everybody up by the gargoyle, and that's how I clear rooms mostly, and then I fight whoever's left. But, yeah, I thought it was fun. It was a pretty fun game. That's why I picked it.
Yeah, the only thing I can add with like being, it's not so much I would say repetitive, but you go back to say the same areas like multiple times, which is kind of annoying.
I hated that part.
So you'll do a part like, say you're in the mansion, you'll leave the mansion, and then later on have to come back to the mansion, and like there's slight variations to it, but it's still the same area.
Yeah.
As you said with the gargoyles, that's kind of like a stealth.
Yeah, that's
aspect.
how I played it.
So in the game, basically, if people have guns, they'll take your health out pretty quickly. So you can't get into like a fight with like 6 gunmen because you won't last for very long. So as you said, you could take them down either using like the gargoyles as like a vertical takedown, or if you sneak up behind people just like by crouching and stuff, you could take them down just wherever they are. I know Lauren likes this because there's the one takedown that's like you cover their mouth and you're like shh, shh, shh,
Yeah.
go to sleep.
Heck yeah. The whole time, every time too, I'm like, shh, go to sleep, go to sleep.
And then there's a lot of enemies throughout the game, as you mentioned. It's just button mashing in the aspect of like you can counter with, because there's like that indicator that pops up above their head as they're about to attack you. If you hit the counter button, you'll counter their attack, and then you kind of just punch and kick to knock people out slowly or surely. You also have like a stun move where you use like your cape
Yeah.
to kind of like stun enemies. So that's like the combat portion of things. But there are, like you said, like puzzles, like getting through each area, because stuff's like either broken down or like the enemies will like, there's an instance where there's like an elevator that gets cut down and you can't use it anymore, so you have to like use like the ducts and stuff to get down or up. So each area is a little bit different, but mostly you're doing the same thing. Um, the villains in this, you kind of like bounce between things. Like Joker's the end
The
all
main,
villain.
yeah, he's the main antagonist in this, and then you like kind of like fight Bane and Poison Ivy and Scarecrow, but you're also always you don't fight the Joker, but you're always trying to solve his puzzles for his location. So,
Right.
like you literally play it, you pretty much go through everybody. You know, most everybody. I wouldn't say everybody.
Yeah, there's just like a lot
Killer
of
Croc.
times where he'll like drag you along and then he'll like get in an elevator and just leave.
Yeah, exactly.
And you're like, oh,
It's
okay,
like
cool.
every time. It's like
Um,
every room you catch up to him, he has an escape route. So yeah,
right. Or he causes like something else to happen so he can just casually leave. Like you find Bane and he hacks the computer, injects him with like the venom or like the Titan like serum or whatever.
right.
And
Because
it's
you
like,
find him and because you find Bane and he's like a skinny little punk. Like
oh man, he
damn.
looks so weird when he's all skinny like that. I'm like, oh
Yeah.
god. It's like Dan on a normal day, malnourished.
Right.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Um, is there anything you guys want to talk about, like mechanic wise, that you enjoyed?
I mean, you just use the gadgets in any way and use environmental, like with the takedowns. Sometimes I would just run around, scurry, and draw the bat symbol with that explosive gel, and then just run
Dude,
Yeah.
I'll be
away.
honest with you. I didn't realize that he was drawing the bat symbol. I thought he was making a smiley
What do you
face every
mean? I was
time,
like,
and I was
damn it!
really
What?
Why does this take?
confused.
It looks terrible. First off,
It
But
looks like the
yeah,
Joker smile. That's what I thought it
yeah, that's
was
what
for
I
the
thought it was.
longest
Oh,
time.
is it because I play in detective mode that I see it every time?
yeah,
Oh
there's.
yeah.
I guess that's
I
something we can
only played
mention.
basically in detective mode, and it's like kind of a fault.
Mhm.
Like it's good, but it's like I played the game basically in black and white.
Right. So,
Yeah.
in this, you have the ability to go into detective mode, which helps you solve like puzzles and different things, but it also show you your enemies. But it turns the
Yeah.
screen like a bluish, like gray color.
Gray, yeah, blue,
Yeah.
gray.
And I played pretty much the whole game in detective mode as like with Tonsa, and it really takes away from like anything they developed like, graphically because I'm
Yeah.
Yeah.
just
Pretty much.
looking at like skeletons like
In
the
which
whole
this
game.
game, for being re-released, because I think we all played Return to Arkham, like that collection.
Yeah.
So it does look it looks pretty damn good.
Oh yeah. Compared to what it was on the 360 when it originally came out.
I think it looked fine then, but like I just
Oh, I
after
said
this long
compared
time,
to. I said compared to.
yeah, I think they look the same, but it just you could just finally tell like, oh man, this is more than just a port.
Well,
Yeah.
it's really nice. I know me and Lauren both played it on the PS5, so it upscales it.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm
okay.
So it
sure.
actually looks really good.
Yeah, I would say it looked way better than I thought it would.
Um, like I watched Dan play a little bit of it, and I was like, not that it looked bad or anything, but I was like, oh, like the PlayStation 5 actually does upscale this a little bit.
Yeah, I believe the Xbox One or Xbox Series X does that as well.
Okay,
I wonder
yeah,
what
I
it
mean it
looked like
makes
on the
sense.
PC. The PC, if you could probably like up it. Like I'm sure there's like a graphical upgrade or somebody released like a patch, you know?
Yeah,
Yeah,
like or
probably.
if like someone like modded it,
Yeah, and did like a reshading and stuff.
probably looks pretty good.
I mean, it held up. Like besides like how clunky some things were, you could honestly say it's like a modern, game.
Right.
Yeah.
So how about Dan? How about you talk about each of the gadgets that we get throughout this game?
So you get your normal batarang, like you would assume with being Batman. You get your explosive gel, which you use to put on walls, like kind of broken down walls, to be able to explode them and make like a new passageway, kind of. You also have your zip line, which you
Oh
will
yeah,
shoot
that's
that
fun.
across, so you can cross.
Streams. Hmm.
Yeah,
It's like
yeah,
large
crossover.
gaps.
Yeah.
Yeah,
like
large gaps. There
areas.
we go. That's a great way
Yeah.
to put it. And then there's also that other What was that other
The-
gadget?
The decryptor.
Oh yeah, the little hacking device thing.
Yeah.
Which you would use that to around the asylum. There will be kind of like lasers, and you would basically use that to disable them.
Yeah, it's like
the barriers.
Yeah, it's like their version of like
Yeah.
extra security.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
I liked using those. I liked like decrypting it.
the only thing I
turn 'em
didn't
off.
like, it took me out of my detective mode. When I was
Oh, you poor thing.
Yeah.
It was just weird when you do a lot of stuff. Like some things just take you out, and you're like, "Oh, what is this?" Fucking-
He was like, "Oh my god, this is what the game looks
yeah,
like."
this is what the like cutscenes do it too. Like you'll be doing something, you'll beat like the last guy, and you see like a skeleton fall, and then pops this like ragdoll weird body. I took a picture and sent it to Corey of the one weird ragdoll guy.
Yeah, that dude that you fought, and he like morphed into that like walkway.
Yeah.
Like his legs were sticking out, but his head was underneath, and then his like torso was underneath, but off to the side. And I was like, "What is happening in this photo?" So how about we kind of talk about we'll go kind of through some of the bosses, because I think those are kind of the things that like stand out because they're different. They break up the like monotonous of the game.
Right.
So your first boss, is it technically the Titan? That first Titan that you fight?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, the first Titan. Yeah.
So basically, there's the serum that this doctor that works there has been messing with, and it causes people to like roid out, but to like the extreme.
Yeah, so it's like Bane if he took like 3 times the amount of steroids.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it causes like your bones to come through your skin and stuff. So it's very like I would imagine that it's extremely painful.
Oh yeah.
And most people like can't even make it through the transformation because they talk about that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But these enemies are, I mean, they're pretty easy. You kind of stun them. Well, there's two ways to deal with them. So you can, as they're charging you, you can hit them with a batarang, and it like blinds them temporarily, and they'll like run into a wall, and then you just beat them up. Or you can just dodge them and beat them up. I was watching Lauren play a little bit, and that's kind of how she dealt with them. She never really used her batarang.
Yeah, I used the battering like a couple times, but I just dodged them and let them run into the walls.
Same.
Oh, I'm pretty sure it just doesn't. The only thing the battering does stuns them, and then it causes them to flail their arms and hit other enemies. Because I think if they just hit the wall, they don't go in that punching
Yeah, no, they
almost
go-
like a kid throwing a tantrum.
Yeah.
When you're
Mhm.
fighting two of them, like if you throw both the batarangs, they can like run into each other, like smacking like each other. It's really weird.
Yeah. Also, once they're stunned and you like hit them a few times, they'll like get like almost like knocked out, but not really. And they'll crouch down, and then you're able to get on their back, and it causes
Mhm.
them to also freak out and just start swinging their arms.
And you can
You
just smack
control
around
'em.
enemies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Counts
Yeah.
towards your combos too, which I felt weird.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting. There's a couple of these Titan spots throughout the game. There's not a whole lot of them, which I think is good because I feel like they'd get really old to deal
Yeah.
with.
Mhm.
There's 4.
Is there only 4?
Well, I mean, I guess.
I think there's 6.
Yeah, I was about to say I forgot the Scarecrow one.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's like the first real boss, and then it's kind of like a mini boss because it gets you ready for the Bane fight because he does the exact same thing.
Right. Yeah.
Mhm.
The Bane fight's all right. I mean, I don't really feel like it's all that great. It's the same process of just having him like run and then run into shit.
Right. It's pretty much a build up for it.
I do like when you beat Bane though that you hit him with your like car.
Yeah. You sink your car into the river.
Yeah, it like
Yep.
hits him into the river, and you're like, okay.
Bye.
It's alright, I'm a billionaire. I can buy a new one.
Yeah.
Right.
Nobody knows this though. So how about Dan? How about you talk about the uh Poison Ivy's not next, is she? How about you talk about the Scarecrow
No.
sections?
I think Scarecrow's after Bane.
Well, you
Yeah,
do
it is.
three of them
Appreciate it.
throughout the whole thing.
Yeah, but the first encounter
They're all
is
It's
awful.
after Bane, yeah.
Yeah.
Here, I'll talk about him. I hate him.
All right, Tonsa hates him, so let him go.
I just felt like they break the game up so bad. Like it's where it's mechanically the worst. Like I would just jump to my death like so often. But you get injected with I don't remember what he calls his like
The crane serum
Scare
or whatever.
yeah,
The
the
Scarecrow
scarecrow
serum.
juice.
Yeah.
And, he's just trying to torment you, making you relive your parents dying over and over. It's to bring out Batman's worst fear. And 12-year-old Bruce Wayne was mad he wasn't man enough to save his parents or something. And you fight him, and it's basically just a platformer where you're going to the top of a tower to shine a light. But if he sees you at all, game over.
Yeah.
And mechanically, some spots just between the camera, and then I just never wanted to glide or grab anything. I just would fall.
The worst
Or,
is
like,
when you would jump and you'd go into T-pose.
Yeah. What was that? That was like a constant thing. I would just jump and like, oh!
That happened to me so many times, and I was like, why? But
Other than that,
the first one's not too bad. You kind of like work your way up, and then you use the bat spotlight, like the Batman spotlight, to take him out.
yeah, and I guess the last part's like you do that 3 times.
Yeah, the first two are pretty much the same. Just the second one's a little longer than the other.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then the third one's cool because
Got moving pieces.
well, that and when you first go into it, you relive like the beginning of the game, but you're Joker.
Oh yeah, that
Yeah.
weird.
You guys kind of like switch spots.
Yeah, and it's
Yeah, I
really
thought
neat.
that was
strapped
cool.
You're
Yeah.
strapped to the dolly.
Mhm.
And then Joker just shoots you in the face, and it tells you like, "Oh, dodge using the center stick."
Oh, I was so mad. I was like,
I
there
was
was
so
no
confused.
What am I gonna do? Like, there's no center stick. There was no prompt to move.
Corey was in my game room when I got that part, and I looked at him. I said, "There's no center stick. What am I supposed to do?" And he's like, "It's part of the game. Just hit retry." And I was like, "Oh." And I hit it, and I was like, "Oh, okay. I'm not stupid."
And then
Yeah.
you like show up in Scarecrow's world, and there's just like a bunch of like weird Batman, like
Yeah, they're all
locked in
crying.
jail,
Yeah.
and
Cracking up, I'm like, "Hey, Batman!" And I'm like, "Oh, hey, Batman!" And I was like, "Hey, Batman, can you move? You're kind of in my way."
and then you have like that real weird one that's like right before you start like the platforming stuff. He's just like eating a rat.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay. But that one, the last one's cool because then you do some platforming, and then you actually take out like quite a bit of enemies. You fight like a
Yeah, it's like a
skeleton
wave.
titan.
It's like waves.
Mhm.
And all they do is turn on more like 3 additional lights, and then that's how you get out of his like serum, like his control, and then he like scurries away like a little punk.
Yeah, little punk.
And heads down into the sewers. Because that leads directly into the Killer Croc part, which is probably one of the most annoying parts in the whole game.
Oh yeah.
slow.
I can't tell you how many times I had to retry it.
I thought that was like my favorite part.
I
Really?
don't like
Like-
it, not because it's broken or that it's like, I get
I
it.
just couldn't run.
You can't sprint. There's no way
Yeah.
to speed it up.
Also, you can kind of skip past it by using the zip line thing, but then sometimes he just ran like, ah! I'm like, what the fuck? I just did it like 2 minutes ago. Now I gotta restart.
Dude, I'll be dead honest with you. I crouched the entire way, and I'm pretty sure crouching is faster than just walking.
Oh, you
Really?
bet.
Oh,
I also
dang.
crouched.
I crouched the whole way, and I
You could
felt like
probably
I was
crouch
moving
and
so
hold-
much faster.
Oh, you could probably crouch and hold X, and you would have been able to move faster.
Probably, yeah.
I crouched the whole time too. I still felt it was too long.
Really, I walked and it was
I wa-
painfully
yeah.
walked, and then
I
I tried to glitch. Like I tried to zip line. I did like that I would just get in his face and not even move, and just he would shoulder check me and fall in the water. I'm like, yeah, that's what's up, buddy.
The worst part about that though is like they make Killer Croc such a pussy.
Yeah.
That part was really unnecessary.
He like doesn't really do anything, and then at the very end you Indiana Jones away from him. And then you set the explosive gel down and you blow him up, like blow up the floor, and he falls further into the sewer, and then you're just like, okay.
Bye.
Nope.
Yeah.
See ya.
And I was like, why?
I will say, like, thinking back on it, the bosses are like the weakest. Like, they're not weakest parts. They just they're all very easy. They're like one trick ponies.
They're just very odd.
I mean, I guess the whole game's like that. Your main fight is square.
Yeah, I think
You just tip.
the strong suit of this, like now, like looking back, if I was playing this in 2009, the game's probably like, oh, this is great. This is like,
Oh, I loved
notch.
it. I played it when it came out.
Yeah, same.
Playing it in 2022, I think the lore and the story carries it.
I think knowing that there's 2 more games and they only got better with each game makes it a better experience, especially looking
there's
in
3.
hindsight.
There's 3 more.
Well, I'm not counting Origins because that one's before it, right?
Yeah, Origins, but it was made after Arkham City.
Yeah.
It was made right before Arkham Knight.
Yeah, I played Arkham City first all those years ago and tried to go back to Arkham Asylum, and Arkham City is just everything that's kind of annoying in Arkham Asylum, they adjust and fix.
Right.
So going back and having to deal with that was pretty annoying back then. Now that it's like I don't really remember Arkham City as much. It wasn't like anything.
Yeah.
But the lore is really good, and I know this is the part that got Lauren like invested, because she likes to pick up the recordings and the character bios and stuff, and she was like reading them and telling me about some of the stuff, because I listened to stuff, but I never really read any of them.
Yeah, I didn't read
my
anything. I just
God.
listened to them.
That was my favorite part, honestly. Like I liked this game a lot more than I thought I would, but the recordings were so cool. You listen to them doing like the interview in the asylum, and you see as they're like continuously trying to see if like their medicine is making them better, and they're not. And then the character bios, they break down like what happened to them, why they became like, a criminal. It gave you backstory for everybody, which, as somebody that barely watched any DC movies and don't know much about them at all, that was great for me. Like, I liked all
it's like
the
somebody's
villains because
intro
of it.
level to comic books.
Yeah, I was like
I think
real
it just
into it.
reinforces a lot of that stuff too.
Yeah, I didn't know like Bane's backstory. I didn't know Poison Ivy's backstory, like Mr. Freeze. I was telling Corey all about him after I played. Like, I was real into it. I thought it was great for somebody that didn't know.
Yeah, actually that's like a different point. Do we want to quickly finish up the boss fight since we started there?
Yeah, we'll go back. So after the Scarecrow stuff and Killer Croc, you get to fight Poison Ivy.
Right.
Which is the boss fight that probably annoyed me the most. Just in the aspect of like, she like morphs into this giant plant, and she's like protected in the middle, and she shoots like, I don't know what those are, like seeds or lasers. I have no idea what those are. But you dodge them, and as you dodge, you have to throw your batarang when that capsule like opens, so you can actually do damage to her. Well, it's just annoying in the aspect of like you're constantly having to move, and then like after you do so many, then she starts bringing up these like vines, and you have to like move out of the way, and then she brings in like enemies, which it's like at that point in time, like in the game, I was so leveled up that it was like, what is the point of these enemies even coming up? I found out like early on that if you hit them with like just the basic 3-piece combo, you can kick them off.
Yeah.
And then just be done with it. So that's what I started doing.
Yeah, just hang out with the sides and then roll out because the vines will get them too.
Yeah, so I don't know. It's an okay boss fight. It just
I felt
seems.
like there was more sustenance in that boss fight than like the Joker fight. So.
I would
Yeah.
agree
Yeah.
with that.
Should
I didn't
finish
really
real
like
quick.
it.
Yeah, no, I feel like it was weird. Also, I struggled the entire game with anything that was like hit the quick use the batarang, because every time I didn't want to do that, I would just like hold L2 a little too long. But like if you like that poison ivy fight took me I think 2 tries.
Yeah, same. I
And
died
the
on my
first
first
time I would
attempt.
every time I'd roll because I had the pattern down, like it's very they give it to you, like
Yeah.
it's not reading
Mhm.
it. But I would like hold it just a second too long. But then the next time I was like, oh, I just tap it, and he even with the wonky camera angle, he throws it to it.
Yeah. Yeah. All you gotta do is quick tap it.
I think
Yeah, but the camera angle makes some of these fights like so fucking.
Yeah, that's what I was referring to about the clunkiness of the camera angles and like most of these fights and stuff like that.
I
It's
think
like annoying.
one of my biggest gripes with this, now that I'm like thinking about it, is that it's two phased. So you have
Yeah,
a
it should.
first phase of doing it and then a second phase of doing it. Why is it exactly the same?
Yeah, it's the same thing, and it's
Yeah,
like that for
nothing's switched
everybody.
up. Yeah.
Like I hated that.
It's like they could have done something like way cooler. Like I don't know, for instance, like she could have came out of that plant and then you could have just like fought her that way
Yeah.
in some aspect. Not
I
that she's like
definitely
a super strong like villain like physically, but like you could do something with it.
I think they definitely learned a lot from that game.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I think it did well enough to boot like the boot the franchise, and Rocksteady was like, okay, these are the things that we need to adjust going into Arkham City, because I had no gripes that I can remember from Arkham City.
I think
No,
that's what
Arkham
also just
City was
makes
just
it.
so good.
That's what also makes them like a studio that you're like, I want to back whatever they're backing, because you show like they showed their like process.
Yeah.
They've only gotten better every time.
So after Poison Ivy, the Joker invites you to a party in your honor. And basically you go back to a previous area because of course you do. And you get to finally fight the Joker. But guess what? There's a bunch of delay before you get to fight the Joker.
Oh,
Because
yeah.
why wouldn't there be?
Just sends out waves of enemies and you have to fight all of them.
So
Oh,
I do enjoy though that the basic enemies don't actually attack you unless you attack them.
right.
They all clap for
Wait,
you.
what?
I
Yeah, that was
attacked
funny.
him.
Yeah,
I
so
Oh,
just
you don't
walked
have
past
to
them.
attack them.
no,
Yeah,
they
just
clap
walk.
for you, and they're like, "Yeah,
Well, I beat
welcome
up
to
the
the
first
party."
ones outside. The ones that had like that monster sale sign. I beat the shit out of those guys and then walked in.
Yeah, same. Because I
Same.
figured they were gonna attack me.
I fought everybody, even the people clapping for me. I just went up and punched them right in the face.
Walk in.
So you do that like little introduction part, and then you come in and you have like a back and forth with Joker, and you actually get shot with the Titan serum.
But the reason you get shot is because he was going to shoot Commissioner Gordon,
Right.
and you
Which
jumped in front of it.
how many times are you gonna be damsel in distress
Yeah.
throughout this whole
Right.
game?
Who's the
A
damsel?
lot.
Like Harley Quinn captured him.
Twice.
Like, yeah, twice. So it's like, shit.
Yeah, and then he had the whole scarecrow thing where you like hallucinate and you think he's dead.
Yeah.
So you jump in front of it, but it doesn't do anything. So I guess that's another gripe for me is like you get hit with it, and then it's like you have to fight two titans and a bunch of like waves of enemies to beat this section of the boss fight. Can you give me something? Make me weaker. Make me move slower. Make it somewhat challenging. It is the final boss of the game. Why am I
Yeah, I
just
felt like
walking through these dudes?
I felt like those two titans. Those two titans were the harder part of that whole sequence.
Yeah,
I kept fighting them is when I experienced like me getting beat up in the corner, and it just not working the way I wanted it to. And then I go fight Joker. I'm like, oh, he's gonna do this. Oh, he moves so slow.
Yeah.
you just run on the
You just
outside
have
of the
to watch.
arena.
Yeah,
you don't even have to
watch for him
roll.
jump.
You could just fast walk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just have to watch for him to jump and then just move out of the way. That's literally all you have
And you
to do.
beat people up, and then use your grappling hook and pull them down and kick them in the face, and then you do that two more
You
times.
do the Nintendo 3
Yeah.
cycle on him, and then that's the final boss. But I
Yeah.
guess Joker shoots himself with the serum, and
Right.
he gets a haircut.
Yeah.
Dude, he ends up with the mohawk. Like, how do you end up with the mohawk?
Also, why is his voice the same? He got massive, and he still sounds like a.
Everyone
high-pitched
else's like voice all like weird. His is just like, oh nope, same. But it is good to know, like, after this fight, even though it's so easy, I like that it leads up to the events of Arkham City, and I actually have like the bridge that connects the two games now.
Yes.
But I wanted more. It's this cat and mouse game all like
Yep.
it's throughout the whole game. You're like, okay, I'm gonna get to Joker, and then you don't, and then you're like, I'm gonna get to Joker, and then you don't, and then the boss fight is so underwhelming.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd agree.
But that's pretty much it. The only other thing is like after the credits, it shows that Bane's still alive, and there's the Titan formula in the water.
Yeah.
I thought it was the Killer Croc in the water.
Oh no, that's Bane.
That made sense.
So that's I mean that's pretty much it for the most part. There's like the Riddler trophies, which I went
Best
through
part.
and I 100%ed this game
Well,
because why wouldn't I? So I got all
You
the
didn't do the
Riddler
challenge
trophies. So that was cool. Which that gives you a bunch more lore too, which is kind of why I was doing it.
he's also like it's a good comic relief. I think what this game does best is makes collecting worth it. Like I like any game that makes collecting like add something instead of just like pick up these pages here.
Yeah, like, oh, here, pick these 100 things up, but all you get is like nothing.
Yeah, or you get like sometimes they'll give you an item or something stupid, but like this game gives you a reason because like there's like 5 parts to this, and then you have the whole
Like the whole interview
old-
recording of whatever character.
well, yeah, everybody. And then you have the old like founding of Arkham Asylum or whatever. I can't I want to say it's Archimedes something, but that's probably not his name.
Yeah, no, I think it is. It's like Artemides Arkham or some shit.
Yeah, like the founder of the city.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean that's story and mechanic wise. I think we've pretty much covered it, and art wise, like we already kind of touched base with that too. Music, is there music in this game?
So like every area you enter, there's like a different tone, but not really. There's not really music.
Not even
Yeah.
enough that I really even know.
Yeah.
To be honest,
I remember some sound playing, but I don't remember in what like
the
correlation
only one I
it
remember
was.
is the Killer Croc stuff because the sound would change depending if he was like running at you or like about to pop up or not.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
that
I
was
did
the only
notice
time I
that.
noticed sound being. I'm sure it was there. It just nothing stood out.
I will say the voice acting, very
Yeah,
good.
So good. Very good.
well, because
Absolutely.
I think they got everybody to like return. Like it was
Yeah.
Mark Hamill.
Yeah,
It
it
was like it's the voice of Batman, like from the shows and shit.
Yeah.
Right.
So as soon as like the game started and like they're doing the dialogue and stuff, I was like, okay, like this is good voice acting. Like I really like it. It's not like, oh god. It's just a
Listen to
side.
this asshole game.
Yeah, just a side note. I was playing an old Batman game at the same time, and that voice acting was terrible.
What Batman game were you playing at the same time?
I played Batman: The Rise of Sensu. It's like a GameCube game,
Okay.
and it's awful. It's so bad. Way harder though.
He voices that Batman as well.
Does he? It sounds terrible though.
It's also 2003, so they probably had mixing, or it might
They
not have
probably
been
had to
like full
compress
budget.
Yeah.
But all right. So we're gonna go around and we'll talk about time to completion if you guys know. Start with Lauren.
Mine was 10 hours.
I'm not sure. I want to say it was around like 7.
Well, I 100% of the game, so it took me 14 hours, but I don't know what I actually finished just the main story in.
Yeah, does PlayStation tell you, like, keep track of anything?
No.
No.
If you have a PS5,
No.
it does.
Yeah,
Yeah.
PS5 it does.
Well, I probably if you probably 7 to 8 hours for me, I think is the correct ballpark. I know I put
Yeah,
a
I
big
did
chunk
like
and then a bunch of small chunks because I had a tough week, I guess.
yeah, I want to say like 6 or 7 hours.
What about you, Dan? Do you have a ballpark?
I believe that was around 6 to 7 hours.
I think that's about average. I know Lauren's was a little longer because she was reading everything, and
Yeah.
then mine was longer because obviously 100% of the game. So I even did like a few of those challenge things in the main menu just to see what
Yeah,
they
I did
were.
some of those.
Um, but all right, so
Fuck the stealth in this game.
before we head into the last section of the episode, is there anything else that you want to talk about for Batman Arkham Asylum?
We can mention how bad the AI is.
Yeah, it's trash.
Yeah, you could just walk like the stealth missions made no sense to me. I hated the collars. Like they're just like so weird, but you could just walk up on anybody as long as they were like I don't even know. Sometimes I walked up from the side of them and they didn't even notice.
Yeah, it's like if you're not directly facing them, like looking
They
them
didn't
dead
see
in the
you. Yeah,
eyes, like they
like
would
they
just be
had
like,
tunnel
"Oh."
vision.
Like you know that mission where you're doing the pumps, the second or the where you have to get that one by itself and everybody's armed and stuff, and it's got all like the explosion walls.
Oh yeah,
I would always take the wrong upgrade. Like I always had an upgrade going into like one of the like a new mission or something. I should have got the Sonic fucking like the one that lures them.
the battering.
Yeah,
Yeah. So what I would do is just like because I failed that like multiple times. I was getting pretty frustrated. Just because I don't like to play slow. Like that game, the slow it didn't work for me. So I was just running in and fighting people right off the rip. And I was just like kind of signaling out and I'd die and then get mad, do it again. But at one point I just went into the basement, went up, ran and past everybody, got them all in, and just blew up the like wall, and I got them on both sides and I killed like everybody in one time. And I was like, that was worth it, but it took me forever.
That's pretty cool. I like this made me think of it because the other side, there's 2 pumps you have to turn off. There's a
Yeah,
bunch of
you just
people
beat 'em
standing
up.
down there. Well,
Mhm.
there's if you don't touch the pumps, there's like two hydraulic presses that go in and out.
Yeah,
Um, if you stand at the top and throw a battering down at them, you can move the enemy towards them, and if that hydraulic press hits them, it automatically kills them.
oh, I didn't have that issue.
So
Like they
that's
would still
all I.
live. They just knock them down.
I
so
just,
you just lured them out.
I literally was just standing up there hitting them with batterings, and they would just move over, get hit, and then I would just move on to the next one. And I think there's like 7 or 8 guys in there, and I just did that, and I just stayed up top, and then I hopped down when they were all dead, and I just turned the pumps off and was like, okay. So I don't know if that's something that should have happened, if it was my game
I don't
being
know.
weird, but
I don't know.
it worked.
Because they weren't like one hit for me. So like I fought them in that at the end of so I went and put myself in that cubby at the end of the hydraulic pump. There's like a just a section where they can't hit you and it goes into the wall. And I just fought them there, and they would get hit by it and get like knocked out, and I would hit like RT triangle. I hated that. Was another thing. It just took so long for that animation to like knock somebody out sometimes, and I was like, damn it,
Oh, I
just stomp on
know.
his head.
'Cause
Just stomp on his head and kick him, kick him.
You'd get swarmed in that process. I guess that's the
Yeah.
same idea with like the silent takedowns. It's like sometimes you'd go to grab someone and take them down, and it's like Batman takes 37 years to put him to sleep, and he lays them down. He puts a pillow underneath them. He pulls
And
a
then you're like
blanket out of
spamming
him.
counter, and you're still in the animation, and it hits you anyways. You're like, what the fuck's the point of the counter button?
Yeah. When he's silently putting him down, and like you're just standing there like laying him down, and the guy's looking at you, and he
And
just
you're like,
starts
"Oh,
shooting at you, and you're like, oh fuck.
I get there's not like a snap neck button where it like makes it faster, but like
Yeah, he's not a
just,
murderer.
like let me
but
elbow him in like the skull, like something.
I just wish you could move.
yeah,
Let
just
me
throw
grab
him.
him
Like,
and
if
then
you're already
drag him
caught.
away.
Yeah.
I think that would be cool. I don't know if they start doing that later on, but like being able to move bodies so that like
I think it's way faster though. Like everything's a little bit faster. I didn't play City, but I played Arkham Knight, and the only thing I disliked in that game is driving all the time.
yeah, the
Yeah,
Batmobile.
yeah.
All right. Well, good then.
Hmm.
All right.
Yeah.
At the end of each episode, we like to go around and find out if we would recommend this game to you guys, and we'll find out why or why not. So, starting with Lauren this week, would you recommend this game, and why or why not?
Yes, I would. Like I said before, I liked it a lot more than I thought I would, so I actually wanted to postpone a day of recording so I could finish it. Um, just so good for anybody that doesn't know like all the backstory behind like all these people. Like there's just information everywhere. If you take the time to look, read, listen to it, they give you a lot. Like the villains are so good. I'm not as big of a fan as of like I think Batman's cool, but I think the villains are much cooler. So, I thought it was a cool game.
Yeah, I think this is like a nice start point if like you didn't know anything about Batman and you wanted to get into it.
Right.
Mhm.
This is like a great way to do that because it's almost like starting from scratch because you get
Yeah.
all that extra content.
Then like knowing now, like they built upon it. They continue going.
Right.
Right.
That's like my favorite thing about going into the city is that the villains that you deal with in this game you don't really deal with in City. So it's cool that they expand out and don't just use the same villains.
Right.
How about you, Dan?
Oh boy. I'm gonna have to say no. Just because I don't know. I felt like I was just doing like the same things, like having to battle the prisoners, and it was just like a button masher for the most part. Scarecrow felt forced, like I felt like there was no need for him to be there at all.
Yeah.
Especially
And so
three
I was really
times.
annoyed with that.
That's
I
fair.
don't know. I didn't.
I mean, it's funny
Um,
because we do this podcast and we almost always recommend the game, so it's nice to just have someone be like, you know what? No.
No.
And I feel
Um,
like I'm usually the one that's just kind of like, yeah. I mean, it's okay. Like it's worth it to play, even just like once. But this no.
Hey, not everybody's gonna like every kind of game,
That's
so
right.
it makes sense.
all right, Tonsa, what about you?
So I guess I'm gonna teeter both ways. I recommend it if you're new to the series and want to play them, but then at the same time, if you just like Batman and want to play a Batman game, then play the newest one or the newer. You said City's really good.
City's
City-
cool.
This one
City-
just
City,
this one
in
just
my
has a lot of
opinion,
stuff I don't want to do or play again. Really, for the second time I've
Right.
played this game, the first time was really cool. Like when it came out, it was early 360, or not early, but like mid start of 360,
Yeah.
kind of. And now younger, it started building into the comic book world. Now we're filled with comic books everywhere. Everybody knows everything, and I would just recommend playing like maybe City then Arkham Knight, and skip Origins completely because it's another one that's like mid.
Yeah.
What about you, Tony? Since you were the one that recommended the game, does this hold up for you? Do you like it less? Do you like it more?
All right. So yes, I would totally recommend it. I'm not really into the button masher stuff, but the story alone like carries the game. The writers did a really great job. If you're gonna play any part of it, just start from this game, get your way through. Like I think me and Tonsa did it in like 6 or 7 hours. So I mean, if you just focus on the story and not like 100% it like Corey did, I mean, it's so worth it getting to City because City is just so much bigger. There's so much more to do. Like they literally fix all the clunkiness. It's just really great. Like because the story literally continues through all of the games. It's just really good. Tons of could vouch for it because he's played them too.
Yeah.
I don't know where I sit. I enjoyed my time with this. However, I just don't know. As for like, it just seems like sometimes it's like, let's add as many enemies as possible for no reason. And you're just doing, it's monotonous. And then like, there's just waves of enemies. And you're just like, come on. I do agree that the story is really good. I love that the games interconnect. It's like a good old like trilogy with a prequel.
Yeah, I basically only recommend this if you're gonna play the trilogy.
Right.
If you're just looking for, okay,
Yeah, if you have like the itch to play through Batman and you want to play through, like in my case, I never played Arkham Asylum, but I really enjoyed City. So now it kind of pieces everything together for me. So it was beneficial and I enjoyed it. I just, if you want to pick up a Batman game, like Tonsa said, probably start with City. You
Yeah.
don't really need too much. It doesn't punish you for not playing the first game. There's just kind of things that they like just skim over, just assuming that you know.
and honestly, you could probably just YouTube it, and I'm sure there's like a
Yeah.
breakdown or a recap video.
like an
Right.
abridged version of the story.
Yeah, just because
Um,
there's not a whole lot of substance to the story, but there's a lot in the game if you go by the lore that they built.
Right.
I would say that give it, if it's under $10, give it a shot. Do not pay more than that.
Which
I
is
think I got the entire collection for like $8.99 during the Steam sale.
We bought it on PSN for $5.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
see, there you go.
So yeah, I mean, I think that's kind of just where I'm at with it. But all right, so Dan has the pick for the month of March. So Dan, how about you tell us what game we're playing and why you chose it?
Okay, we are going to be playing some good old Going Under.
I don't even know what that is.
Oh,
neither.
I'm so excited then. So Going Under, it's a roguelike dungeon crawler, basically. And you are an intern at it's like a tech company, and you're basically tasked with going into dungeons underneath of it where they keep like all their failed tech startups, and you got to fight them.
Corey, we seen the trailer
Yeah.
for this.
I've
Did
seen this
we?
game.
I'd have to look at it. It just doesn't sound familiar to me.
Yeah, when you look on Steam, you'll see it. We've definitely seen this trailer. It looks so neat. The art style looks cool.
Yeah, it kind of reminded me of like Donut County, kinda.
Oh God.
Art style
It's
wise.
that Team 17
Yeah, art style-wise.
like company that publishes it.
I like
Yeah.
Like not the people that
17.
make it. Yeah, like it's one of those kind of stylized games.
Yeah.
Well, I do like the developer name Agro Crab. Crab.
Agro
Yeah, it's
Grab.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
it's just
the
a crab with a knife.
developer.
Well, that's cool. I'm excited to play it then. I don't think we've done a roguelike yet,
Yeah.
so that's change up the genre a
You,
little
you know,
bit.
I had to go with something different.
Yeah, that's exciting. That's cool. I'm looking forward to that. What's is it just on Steam?
It's on Steam. It's also on Game Pass.
Oh, okay. That
Oh.
might be
I'm pretty sure it's on PlayStation as well, I would imagine.
okay. I just didn't know if it was just like a PC release. But all right.
Yeah.
So catch the next episode for that one. And all right, so I had a lot of fun playing and talking about Batman Arkham Asylum on NLGC. But before we go, we wanted to share where you can find us online.
First, we have a YouTube channel called Nerdlag where we upload some great content, so make sure to subscribe for the latest videos. We have a Facebook page at Nerdlag Game Club. Make sure to like the page so you can get all the latest news about the podcast. We also have a Twitter at Nerdlag where we share some of the latest gaming news and stuff we find interesting. And lastly, we have a Discord at NerdLeg where you can talk to us in voice chat and share in everything nerdy, from video games to animes to movies, and just hang out with like-minded people. Ask us for an invite. Lastly, we want to thank everyone who tuned in for this episode. And if you enjoyed it, to make sure to share it with your friends and follow us on Spotify. It really helps.
On to the final credits. Each episode, we'd like to talk about what we've been doing gaming-wise or any kind of gaming news we want to talk about. So with that being said, is there anything that has been going on that you guys want to talk about?
I
You guys
feel like
could-
we've just been kind of doing the same things.
Yeah,
at least for
I'd say
me.
The rotating Lost Ark / Valorant since we last recorded.
Yeah, and me playing Pokemon.
You're playing
Hey, you
Pokemon,
guys all-
Dan? Did you beat it yet?
Oh yeah, I have like
yeah.
90 hours in the game now.
100% it since the last podcast.
I think me and Corey.
Yeah, me and Dan have it 100%ed.
During the last podcast, I can't remember what we.
Not
'cause
during.
I was
No.
gonna say we did that mid episode like 2 weeks ago,
Yeah.
so it's like it's been relatively recent.
Yeah, I know that I have 75 hours in it now,
Wow.
and I'm 100% done. I have like all the Pokédex stuff done, and then I just did all the update stuff that they just added.
Wow.
So that's kind of where I'm at with it. I've been still going through my GameCube series. I started Dave Mirra today, which, God, bad controls in that one.
I think I want to be Tony Hawk Pro
Yeah,
Skater
it's
3.
Tony
Yeah.
Hawk with like a $5 budget.
I wonder if Matt Hoffman's BMX or freestyle BMX is just as bad. Or I don't know if that one has freestyle in it too. I don't remember I played all those as a kid. I just don't remember, but I could see that watching you play, and then that person like, hey, do this and do this, and it makes it a little bit better. It's like, well, they didn't. Why couldn't they just explain that to you in the game?
If you go in the menu, like it tells you how to do tricks, but it doesn't tell you like anything else.
Like suggested, like how you approach, like, yeah, it's
Right,
weird.
like it doesn't tell you like if you press down on the stick, it will stop you instantly. It's like, okay, well, how the fuck am I supposed to know that?
Trial and error.
So like I'm going through that other Batman game I played, which was fine. It's just extremely brutal. Like that game is this game like on steroids. It's like, oh, you got it surrounded by 3 enemies. Well, you just lost a life.
The thing you pointed out is the Batman combat has not changed.
It hasn't. It's the same. A bunch of enemies surround you. You take them out and you try to counter them.
I guess what would you want out of a Batman game? Like, I feel like these games hit them
Guns.
kind of what you expect. Yeah, you want Batman to have a gun?
Yeah.
The Call of Duty just in a Batman skin. He's gonna be in Warzone next.
Yeah.
Guarantee it.
Oh no! Don't say that.
I'm gonna call Lauren out right now
What?
and Dan. They've
For
been
what?
playing this weird Office game on their phones.
Oh.
Office
What's so
game?
weird about it?
I'm just calling you out.
Yeah.
You don't ever bring it up, and now I'm just
What
making
is
you
it?
talk about it.
It's
Well, look it up.
literally just one of those games where, like,
Like
okay,
one of those
first
idle
off,
tap games.
it's pretty neat because they go through different episodes and they do all the dialogue between the characters and everything, but they have desks and you level them up, you know, as time goes on. They gather more and more money and you buy more leads. That's the premise of the whole thing.
What's it called?
It's The Office. How I
The
Manage, or
Office,
somehow I
Somehow I
Manage.
Manage.
Okay.
Based off of the book that Michael Scott's supposed to write.
Yeah. But yeah, it's pretty good considering like they do the dialogue and they do different episodes. As you complete an episode, you go to the next one where they do more like, you know.
Earn rewards. Epic Stanley.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
You get
Alright.
it.
Yeah, it looks. I'm intrigued now.
I just like giving them a hard time.
You still play your farm?
I
What,
don't.
farm
I
game?
haven't played it in forever.
Oh,
You
we've
know,
also
you played
me
that
and
for like
Lauren have
2
also
years.
been playing Wordle.
Oh yeah.
Our
We've
daily
been playing
Wordles.
Wordle.
Till they make you pay for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Oh, yeah.
the day I stopped.
They have the
Same.
That's
paywall.
all I see people on online talking about that game.
Yeah. As soon as I have to pay, I'm done.
Which I seen a tweet from was it Reggie? He solved
Mhm.
whatever word in 2 tries, and he was like, "All right, cool, I'm done. I'm never gonna play this
Yeah.
again." And they're like, "Reggie's such a Chad."
They did.
What about you, Tony? What have you been doing? What have you been playing?
I have been playing Outriders on the PC. Been playing with Mark. I have 40 hours in it in this month.
There you go.
Also, I'm about to start Fallout New Vegas because I got it for $2 and I haven't played it yet.
There you go.
So, yeah.
You probably drop 75 hours into that, and then I can go, oh, damn, that's crazy.
Yeah,
As
but
I-
that's what I'm saying about you and Pokemon right now.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I can say it back to you.
yeah, I'm not that guy. I play 100 different games for 1 hour.
Yeah, that's so true. No, I'm just waiting for the new the tomorrow day or whatever the hell
Is
it's
it the day
called.
before?
The day before, yeah, that's
Yeah.
what I'm waiting for.
Yeah,
Don't even know the name of the game.
Just waiting for it, though.
Yeah, I'm just waiting for it.
that's what June. They just released stuff on that the other day.
Yeah, that's pretty much what I'm waiting for. I pretty much burned myself out of the division the last couple months. I put let me see here. Where's
I'm in this
that?
weird boat where I want to play Bloodborne because Elden Ring is going on. I'm like, I can't play that unless I beat a Souls game. And I'm like, oh, cool. And then I'm also like, do I try playing Shin Megami Tensei 3? Or do I go back to Digimon because I seen a trailer for Survive again? And I'm like, fuck, I don't know what I want. This is what happens to me. And I play nothing.
That's the typical Tonsa. Just
Jan, you trying to play
nothing.
some Valorant tonight?
Dude, I was honestly gonna ask you that.
Hell yeah, me and Dan are on this Valorant kick. It's fun when we all play, man.
I think there's a new season today.
Is it start today?
I don't know.
Well, before we go, I think we got to touch base a bit. New Gen 9 Pokemon.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
I love them.
My
I want all 3 of them.
So my favorite thing I seen was somebody showed what's the bunny from Score Bunny?
Score
Bunny?
Bunny.
Uh-huh.
And then this one, they're like, who keeps slapping craft singles on these
Uh-huh.
poor
I've seen
Pokemon?
that.
Yeah, I saw that.
laughed.
That made me laugh.
But this looks really good. I mean, the starters so far, everyone's happy with all 3 of them.
Yeah.
The world's kind of weird. It looks like this one's based out of Portugal, Spain, is what it kind of looks like.
Yeah.
Which is kind of cool because we haven't been to that region. And I don't know. It looks good. It looks like it's running in the Pokemon Legends Arceus game engine, but with better graphics
and more it's more populated, right?
Right. It looks like
is that the word I'm thinking of?
well, I mean, it's cool because there's Pokemon in the city and stuff, which they did a little bit in Pokemon Legends, but this seems to be more lively.
I like what I've seen that looked like how they were doing the gym. I kind of looked at it, then I also it's Pokemon, so I don't want to watch I don't want to look too much into it because then it starts becoming
that trailer is perfect.
Yeah, it looks very vague
because it doesn't tell you anything. It shows you some of the environment,
and the starters are at the very end.
Yeah, the starters are at the end, and then it's just all right.
Yeah, the Scarlet and Violet, and it's and then I'm like, damn, wasn't Sword and Shield last year?
No.
No,
yeah, I know.
No.
I text Corey, I was like, damn, time's moving fast.
But yeah, I just wanted to bring that up because that's the gaming news I'm most excited about.
New gen Pokemon.
Yeah,
it's this year. I think that's
Yep. Late 2022.
Gonna be probably November because that's
a lot of
typically
Pokemon.
Yeah.
So then they're gonna release a new Pokemon game.
Yep, Scarlet and Violet,
Yeah.
Okay.
which is I'm good with. But yeah, if you guys are good, then we can probably end the episode.
Yeah. This puts
Yeah.
it over 1,000 Pokemon.
It will
we
Really?
probably, yeah.
I mean, technically, it's already over 1,000. I think
Oh.
with
The
the
variants.
Hisuian Pokemon.
Oh, with the okay.
But all right, I had fun talking, this little extra time at the end of each episode that we do. But I think it's time for us to install the next game and get ready for the next episode. So,
I already did.
oh, nice.
It
So
was
thanks for
engaged.
listening, and we will see you guys for the next one.
Nice.
ya.
See ya.
Later.
Deuces.